Well, that's certainly a title of a video, isn't it? I struggled to think how best to articulate what I wanted to talk about here in a shortish title. I'm 100% convinced somebody's going to come right in the comments below and tell me a really obvious name I could have used but didn't think of. Anyway, maybe I should actually explain what this video is about before you lose interest and click on something else. So, stop me if you've heard this one before. You're playing a Fromsoft game, you're in some kind of cave or dungeon, possibly underground, and you emerge out, finally seeing daylight and freedom after what feels like ages. Usually caves represent some kind of ordeal in these games, and I think we've all said to ourselves, thank God I'm out of here at some point. So I'm going to rank 5 examples of this which I felt were pretty impactful to my playthrough of all of these games. I'm not going to use a scoring system for this, as this is more based on the feels. Hopefully you enjoy this pretty random video. Comment below if you think of any other examples of this that impacted you, and of course like and subscribe to support the cause of the content. Let's start off with number 5. In Bloodborne, the Forbidden Woods to Yosefka Clinic. Yosefka? I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, so this one is a cool but actually completely missable moment. You're playing Bloodborne, wandering around the Forbidden Woods, dealing with werewolves, snakes, and all manner of crap, and you happen to stumble upon this little tunnel that leads underground. A little further in, and you find Fromsoft's old classic, a poison swamp, but you've got your huge smile on your face at this point. But eventually you get further in and you find a couple of very long ladders. And what's this? It's Central Yharnam. It's a nice little moment of world connectivity, and the view here is pretty great, just as it was at the beginning. It's kind of nice to see this after being stuck down in the Forbidden Woods for ages. The only downside is that likely by the time you find this you still haven't explored all of the Forbidden Woods, so you're going to need to go back in there and dive into that hellish area. Still, a nice little moment for this though. Number 4. Elden Ring, Lernia of the Lake's View. Stormveil Castle is likely the first proper dungeon you'll encounter in Elden Ring, and it is pretty intricate. There's lots to explore and tons of enemies. After you've had enough of being beaten up by bladed lions and giant trolls, you can beat Godric to complete the dungeon. Your reward? Well, as well as his remembrance, a trip upwards to emerge out onto this plateau with what I think is one of the most beautiful views in all of the Fromsoft games. This is really stunning, and the amount of places you can see here is incredible. My first reaction was, I want to go to every single one of these! And trust me, I did. The only reason I don't rank this one higher is because Stormveil Castle is open plan compared to the other areas on this list, so it's not like you were deprived of daylight or anything like that, and it's not quite as oppressive, I don't think anyway. But I still felt this deserved a mention because of how spectacular this view looks. Wow. Number 3. Dark Souls 2, Medulla. So this is an interesting one because it's right at the beginning of the game. Dark Souls 2 starts off in these super dark woods where you can get smashed by a troll, told you're going to die loads by this old woman, and then met with a bunch of honestly rubbish tutorial areas which make fog gates feel totally trivial. But then as you head down this passageway, you hear a roaring sound that gets louder and louder. The first time I heard this, I thought it was a dragon or monster or something, but then you come out and wow, this view is so unexpected, at least it was for me at the time of playing this. It's also so different from anything we see in Dark Souls 1, and actually starts the game with some colourful, peaceful imagery instead of an oppressive boss like the other games do. It maybe doesn't quite have the satisfying sigh of relief quality the other entries do because it's right at the beginning of the game, but the pleasant surprise here is enough to earn it this spot. Dark Souls 3, Irthyll of the Boreal Valley. So, Catacombs of Carthus suck. There's no other way around it. It's filled with all those classic Fromsoft things that none of us really like, such as skeletons and rats. It also has a rubbish boss in High Lord Wolnir. This one is so high for me because it actually holds a very special place during my first playthrough of Dark Souls 3. When I first played Dark Souls 3 and I was at this point, I actually wasn't enjoying it very much. The only exception might be the Abyss Watcher's boss, but the rest of the first half of the game I think is pretty underwhelming. But then, after being beaten down in these grotty catacombs for ages, you emerge out to this ethereal view full of vibrant shades of blue. Anor Londo is even visible, although you don't have any idea that's what it is at this point. In my view, the game also gets way better from here onwards, and I ended up loving it by the time I was done, so I'll never forget this key turning point in my opinion. But it can't compare to our number 1 entry. Number 1, Dark Souls 1, Blighttown. So I couldn't really choose anything else here, at least from my experience of playing these games. Obviously this doesn't quite have as beautiful a view as maybe Medulla or Irthyll or Lernia, but It's the significance of what this means to emerge from Blighttown here. And I'm sure I'm not the only player that had this specific gameplay loop. Let me talk you through this. So, you head down from the depths into Blighttown. Already by this point you feel like you've been underground for a long time. You make it right down to the bottom of Blighttown, probably, let's be honest, hating every second. The floor now poisons you, but at least you've descended as far as you can go. You best Quelaag in battle and ring the bell, but now what? I discovered this wheel here, rode it up and made my way out of this tunnel, seeing daylight for the first time in what honestly seemed like weeks. Now, the daylight alone might be enough to give you that sigh of relief feeling, but I didn't get it until I crossed this plank, found myself in the New Londo ruins and took the lift up only to hear those few familiar chords. Beautiful. The thing that made this so impactful is that compared to the other games, there is no warping available at this point, so there was no warping out to go to the blacksmith or merchant. Once you're down in Blighttown, you just gotta keep pushing through, no turning back. I'm in two minds as to whether not being able to warp is a good thing in Dark Souls 1 for a number of reasons, but this cave emergence wouldn't hold anywhere near the weight if you could. Truly one of the best moments in any of the Fromsoft games, and I'm sure many of you agree. So thanks for watching, a nice short random little video here. Are there any cave emergences in Fromsoft games that you think deserved a spot on this list? Comment below if there's any others that you find memorable, and of course, like and subscribe for more content. Speaking of which, we hit 1,000 subs! Thanks so much for all your support and nice comments. I feel greatly humbled, and will continue working on more content that hopefully you'll enjoy. Have a good one, and see you next time, guys. Thank you.